please explain to me how it took 4 days for anyone, I mean, us, the team, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, to learn about Jimmy Garoppolo's thumb. How did this happen?
Yeah, it's really a surprise to everybody, right? It took all of us by surprise when we heard about this. There was no mention of it. This is something that typically should have been mentioned. Shanahan always talks about the injuries after the game,
Yep.
even the minor ones, and this wasn't even mentioned then. So it really.
Plus, in the press box, if it happens mid-game, you'll hear so-and-so has, as a, they'll be like, Azeez Al-Shaair. We heard this. Azeez Al-Shaair has a knee injury, and his return is questionable. You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Didn't hear anything about this one.
Yeah, and there was nothing. There was no word at all. So it really took everybody by surprise, and that's what leads to the speculation.
Was there video footage of him holding his thumb at any point? No.
No, the closest was the one after he gets sacked, but he, looks like he's grabbing his hand, but I think he's just, I don't think he's really grabbing at it. I think what, Juszczyk said that he told him during the game that it was, he'd hurt his thumb, but, really there didn't seem like there was any kind of discussion about it, maybe on the sidelines. And I kind of think that Shanahan was covering for it a little bit yesterday for their own mistakes.
It's possible that Jimmy mentioned it in passing to Juszczyk, who could have mentioned it to a coach, who could have mentioned it to Kyle Shanahan, but that's about as formal as it got, it seems. So what it was, am I to think that it wasn't that bad in the moment and Jimmy was trying to not make it an issue? He was trying to be a good soldier, a tough guy, not using it as an excuse?
Well, it could have been a situation, during the game, they have all that adrenaline going through them, right? So
right.
It could have hurt, but it wasn't enough to where it was really hurting, if that makes sense, to where you're going to come out of the game. But it does seem odd that it's a torn, whatever's torn inside of his thumb and a fracture, and nobody knew about it until Monday at some point. And it just seems that's really odd to me.
Right. I mean, you'd think, first of all, if it was serious and it affected his first throw of the third quarter interception, bad throw, you'd think, well, why is he playing? Right.
Well, and I hear people talking about that throw, but the problem is you can watch Garoppolo's tape throughout the entire season and you see him miss that throw in the exact same manner in which he missed that throw in the game.
That's why when it happened, we weren't thinking like, oh, he's got to be hurt. It's like, no, he does stuff like that. That's part of his game. I mean, that's not out of the ordinary.
No, we've seen him. We saw him do it against Minnesota, right? Where luckily there was no safeties behind there. True. But you saw him try to throw over a linebacker to Samuel, and the ball just sails through the secondary. But so it's happened a number of times. So it doesn't,
So when you say that he was covering for himself, Kyle, do you get the feeling that he didn't really know about this during the game?
Yeah, I don't think he really actually knew that there was an injury.
Right. He said he did because he's supposed to know. He's the head coach, but how could you?
Yeah.
How could you know? And I mean, if he knew, none of his decisions afterward really make sense. His lack of explaining, his lack of making an adjustment. It's more likely that he didn't know, and he said he knew because he's supposed to know.
Well, the biggest thing there is the game plan, the way the game played out. He played fine in the second half. He had the one bad throw, but after that, he played okay. I don't think they lost the game because of his thumb injury. He
played exactly the same in the second half as he played in the first half. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
exactly
I agree.
The same.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when I say he's covering for himself, I'm saying more along the lines of the fact that he didn't bring it up on Thursday night after the game.
Right.
That's more what I'm talking about as far as covering up for himself.
Okay, so we have no idea, everyone, but we're trying to see what makes the most sense. What makes the most sense is Jimmy, for whatever reason, didn't talk about this very much. Now we're going to have to ask him, although heaven knows if we'll ever get to talk to him again. But it seems to me that he just didn't talk about it. Football players are tough guys, right? And he's got this injury-prone label. It's possible he didn't think it was that bad. He didn't want to bring it up. He didn't want to use it as an excuse. I mean, I saw him unscrewing a cap right in front of me. It clearly wasn't killing him after the game. It wasn't anything he needed to talk about. But then it was a very weird weekend. Maybe it got worse. Clearly the relationship between him and the team didn't get better. I mean, things got weird. So maybe at a certain point he's thinking, this hurts. And what you did on Twitter hurts. And the way everyone is just throwing me under the bus is quite unfortunate. So you know what? Guess what, guys? Guess what? You're going to find out something on Monday about me. I'm not going to tell you just yet. I don't know. It was very dramatic on Monday. It did seem like the Niners really were surprised. Maybe they weren't, but it seemed like they got caught off guard.
Yeah, the whole thing was weird the way that it came down, right? You have the report that Garoppolo's not at practice. First off, you have the tweet from the tweet that John Lynch likes over the weekend on Friday, and then you have the report that Garoppolo is not at practice on Monday, and then you have Shanahan telling you that
it's not broken and it's a sprain.
Yeah, it's just a sprain. That's it.
Yeah.
And then within 5 minutes of that report, of him saying that, the press conference you get the report from Schefter and Rappaport that it's a tear and a broken. All those things.
Great. Yeah. So, and we're going to talk about what's up with this and where the information is coming from in a minute. But I think the reason it took us so long to learn about Garoppolo's thumb is it probably took the Niners pretty long to learn about Garoppolo's thumb. I'm not, again, if the Niners really knew about this during the game, the trainers would have checked it out. If the trainers had checked it out, the cameras would have caught that. It was on national television. He's the quarterback. You never can sneak that by. He either would have went in the training tent, or he would have sat in the bench and gotten checked, or they would have checked it. He would have left the field. Well, one of the three, and that didn't happen. So I don't think the Niners really knew until Monday.
No, I agree. I don't, it's a situation where I think he was bothering him. Like I said, I think he played the game all through. The adrenaline the adrenaline probably wears off at some point on that flight home if he flew back with the team, or I don't know what they did after the game, if they all flew back or went to their families, or what they did for Christmas, and then they show up on Monday and all of a sudden they know. I would hope that the team knew about it on Saturday and Sunday, but just didn't say anything to anybody because there was no reason to, because they didn't have any media obligations.
I could just see it from Jimmy's perspective. Like, look, I didn't use this as an excuse. Now, he used other things as an excuse, but I didn't use this as an excuse. I didn't mention this. I got hurt. I played terribly. I didn't talk about it. We lost. And then John Lynch throws me under the bus on Twitter. I mean, I get no support from any of you guys. Just going to let me take this? Okay, well, in that case, let me tell my truth then. I was hurt. Now I'm saying it. Since everyone else wants to throw me in, I was hurt. How about that? You didn't even know it. How about you didn't even know it? Because I'm a good guy. Every time I prove I'm a good guy. And you know what? You guys are a terrible organization that had nothing going for you before I got here. And I made you, but no. I could just see that being Jimmy's side of the story. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you just me under the bus? Okay. Well, you didn't know something about this. You didn't know I was hurt.
Oh yeah, no, I can definitely see that. I can see something like that playing out. In the background, away from everybody. Just with the way that this whole thing has gone on all season long, and then we're going to get to it a little bit as far as where this information is coming from with regards to the injured. How bad the injury is, and I think that all kind of plays into kind of some of what you're talking about here.
And again, I don't think he's shutting himself down, like to spite the Niners. I think it's like how he relayed the news to them. It's like, oh, John Lynch going to like that tweet? Well, maybe you're going to find out about my injury when everyone else finds out at that point. Instead of me calling you on a Saturday and telling you, actually, it hurts and I'm getting imaging done and this could be prepared. You might want to get Trey Lance ready right now. You're going to learn when I don't show up on Monday. And then you're going to find out from Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport what the exact prognosis is, like everyone else. Sorry, you're just like everyone else now because it's, I don't know. It's possible. Because to me, that's what's interesting is how the information the Niners didn't know. He has a press conference and he's like, okay, let me tell you the information. And Eric Branch is, so is it broken? Kyle's like, oh no, it's not broken. It's just sprained. It's broken and it's torn. Oh, okay. That's interesting. What's going on here, guys? Why the disconnect? Well, maybe Jimmy's a little pissed. Maybe Jimmy's feeling like you wanted to push me out. Fine. Go to the playoffs without me.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, this isn't the first time. We had this happen with his calf earlier this season too. Remember where they were talking about it being one thing, and Shanahan's talking about it being one thing, and then Garoppolo gets up there right after, and he's talking about it being a more serious injury than what. And it just who knows what's going on. And I remember writing an article about that afterwards because it was just too funny to hear the disconnect between the two.
Plus, there was last year, the second time he got hurt, it hurt his ankle, and he wasn't playing, and they were saying that he was doing great in practice when he was saying, I'm injured. I'm not ready to play. There was that too. Anyway. Also, there was that thing in New England when he hurt his shoulder, and Martellus Bennett had that little story about that earlier this year about how he kind of took himself out. Anyway, Seems to be what his handlers like to do for him is to keep him healthy. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know.